Thank you for inviting me, and thank you everyone for having me here today. I just share my screen. Since no, I hope my screen is visible. I'm Dr. Vandana Dabla. I'm Senior Advisor for Gender, Health, and Social and Behavioral Change, and currently the India lead, country lead for Creative Consulting. So today I will be delivering my session on women, food security, and nutrition, elevating the generational health. Now, why this issue matters? Why we are here discussing this important topic? Because we have seen that women sit at the center of food systems. They act as producers, caregiver, and nutritional gatekeepers, and yet they are at the disadvantage side, and which directly shape the global nutrition outcome. We know that women make up 40% of the agricultural workforce globally, especially if we see in the higher, this percentage is higher in low income settings. And they are the ones who are the nutritional gatekeepers. For example, what I mean over here is that the maternal nutrition determines fetal growth, child survival, and long term human capital. Not only this, it impacts the intergenerational health also. Malnutrition in women perpetuates the cycles of stunning and poor cognition and reduced productivity across generations. Now, I want everyone to look at the global data and key data which is presented on this slide, which is really concerning. If we look at the hunger and the food insecurity index, then we see that 673 million people face hunger in 2024, where 2.3 billion people are moderately and severely food insecure, and 2.8 billion cannot afford a healthy diet. Now, we all know that this is impacted through multiple reasons because of the national poverty line and because of the ongoing the geopolitical tensions. But here the gender disparity increases. The women experience more, food insecurity in comparison to men. And the gender gap in this food insecurity is widening globally. We see the malnutrition burden, where we see millions of children get stunted, wasted, and suffer from acute malnourishment in the crisis settings. And if we see that's very important and concerning that 1 in 4 children globally faces severe dietary deprivation, which is also known as, we call it a food poverty. Now, in humanitarian context, 295 million people we have seen that acutely affected with a food crisis situation. And here, very different gamuts are the primary drivers, which are, for example, the conflict, the primary shocks, and displacement. Now, when we talk about the women are more affected, the percentage is more affected, then what are the pathways through which we link women to this most affected category? So how linking women to the food insecurity and the nutrition? Now, there are many pillars, over which the first one is access and control over resources. We have witnessed over generations that women have less access to land, credit, inputs, and markets. Now, this is because of the socio-cultural reasons we have seen around us, and which is more alarming into the resource limiting and underdeveloping countries. They have very limited decision-making power, which further reduces the dietary diversity and household nutrition. Another important factor, if we see, is the unpaid care, that is the care economy, which we work on it nowadays. Now, this is also known as time poverty and unpaid care burden. So here, women perform disproportionate unpaid labor without getting any incentive. For example, if you see on the slide, I've written that globally, women spend 250 million hours per day collecting water. Now, this water collection is considered to be their household chores and is not paid otherwise. It reduces time for childcare, it reduces time for feeding practices, and of course, the chances of income generation. The intra-household food education is also a great reason. Women often eat last and least. Again, we attribute it to the cultural and social norms prevalent in the society. And this become greatly affected in the crisis situation. So cultural norm influences food distribution. Apart from that, if we see the health nutrition nexus, then poor maternal nutrition often leads to low birth weight, stunting of child, and reduced lifetime productivity. In humanitarian vulnerability, women face higher risk in crisis, food insecurity, gender-based violence, and loss of livelihood. Now, while we have seen the pathways, what are the key drivers of the crisis? So there are five pillars of it, in which the first comes the conflict and fragility, where the primary driver is acute hunger. The other one is the climate change. We have seen nowadays many debate that how drought and floods and crop failure disproportionately affect women. It forces women to migrate. It forces women to lose their only productivity or the only income generation chances. It it leans women towards pushes women towards more economically dependent on men. Then comes the economic shock, where inflation reduces the dietary quality. It not only affects the dietary quality, but also affects the purchasing power. Now, the gender inequality, where systematic constraints across all food system nodes are affected, including the weak health and social protection systems. So, in a nutshell, if we see the gender gap in food security, so they experience higher food insecurity globally, where the limited access to land, finance, and decision making are the key structural drivers. And disparity is increasing in fragile settings. When we say fragile settings, it can be the developing countries and the conflict related areas majorly. Now, what is the need of the hour? Where the solution comes? What is the proposal which we propose and how it can be reverted? So we need to understand that women economic and productive empowerment must be ensured. Women needs to secure land rights and asset ownership. There should be equal access to input, equal access to finance and extension services. Where there is evidence is that closing gender gaps in agricultural could significantly reduce hunger. So we must provide such economic and productive empowerment to women. The second solution comes with the nutrition sensitive social protection, where we have seen the cash transfer schemes and food transfers target to women uh, effectively and positively affect the women condition. The conditional transfers linked to maternal and child care services, which are more prevalent in many countries. The school feeding and take home rations for girls are also helpful drivers. The maternal and adolescent nutrition interventions also help the situation. For example, we have seen the introduction of iron folic acid in the school, then the balanced energy protein supplementation, the adolescent girl nutrition as a pre-pregnancy intervention window. Then the time saving and care support interventions are also important, where we dealt with water, sanitation, clean energy access. We have seen a lot of WASH programs in the development sector which takes care of such interventions. We need to provide the child care support in agricultural settings because most of in the rural areas and in the low resource countries, women are engaged into the agricultural practices for the income generation. And here giving the child care support would help them to continue their income generation and support the agricultural production. Then very important, reduces the time poverty, which ultimately produces and improves the nutritional outcomes. We shouldn't forget the gender transformative social and behavioral change. Although the concept is newer and taking a lot of interest in many sectors, it actually works on the shift norm because we have seen that many drivers or many reasons are socio-cultural. So the social and behavioral change directly impacts that. We need to have the shift norm on infra household food allocation, on women's decision making regarding her own nutrition, and male engagement in caregiving. They should be critical for sustained impact beyond service delivery. And the another factor which helps in conducting this thing is food system transformation, which is nutrition sensitive. That is diversify production beyond staples, that is beyond fruit, vegetables, and proteins, strengthen the local food system and value chains, and promote the biofortified crops. The another solution comes from the humanitarian development nexus programming, where we need to integrate the food assistant nutrition services and protection. Now, when we say the food assistance nutrition services and GBP preventions, they comes in hand. We have seen, and there are evidences that even if we provide the food assistance to women and give the nutrition services, for example, in many countries, maternal nutrition, while during pregnancy, it is available, in the school, it is available. But if we have failed to provide protection to women from the intimate violence or the gender-based violence, then the system would remain the same. The output would remain the same. So we have to integrate all the three, which is now not integrated. Then we need to prioritize women-led community structure, which would help them along with the peer. It would also help them not only on the societal way, but also on the mental strength. So in a nutshell, if we see the strategic priorities for global actors into this, is embedding the gender across food systems programming and not in the silos, as I said. Then we need to invest in data disaggregation, that is, what is sex, age, and infra household. Although we do have data available, but the data is not disaggregated. The data is not available as per gender data. So we need to have investment, a lot of data, and then research in this context so that we can come up with more robust solutions according to the geographies and according to the development status of the countries. Then we need to have the scale multi-sector performance. Now, here multi-sector platforms are health, nutrition, agriculture. We have seen that platform in WASH, as I already said. Then we need to prioritize the fragile and climate vulnerable settings where we need to fund women-led local organizations, which we are now seeing in many settings. We fund as women entrepreneurs and the women-led local organizations and institutions, but we need to do it more actively, and the government, the national governments has to be more involved regarding it. Then we need to move from nutrition specific to nutrition sensitive and gender transformative approaches. Food insecurity is not gender neutral. We have seen that. Women are disproportionately affected by food insecurity, but also represent the highest leverage entry point for improving global nutrition. And without closing this gender gap, this is very sure that we are not able to attain the sustainable development goals on zero hunger and health, and it will remain unattainable. So here I finish my presentation. Thank you for your patient listening.